Goat meat is the most widely consumed red meat on Earth. It contains less fat than beef and even skinless chicken breast, while goat milk is naturally richer in fat than cow milk. As a result, goat milk cheese is often creamier and richer. So how do goats produce such lean meat and rich milk? To understand that, we need to start at the very beginning of a goat's life. Right after birth, workers carefully lift each wet newborn into a plastic tote and move quickly through the facility corridors, passing industrial pipes and monitoring equipment. Inside the warming bay, glowing heat lamps cast golden light over beds of clean wood shavings, giving each newborn the exact warmth it needs to stop shivering and start growing. That yellow ear tag's barcode gives this kid a unique digital identity, tracking its health from day one. Thick, nutrient-packed colostrum is poured through a funnel into clean bottles. This first milk carries antibodies the newborn can't survive without. The worker guides the teat as the kid drinks eagerly, stroking its cheek to keep it calm. That steadiness helps with nutrient absorption. Down the row, a dark brown kid drains its bottle before the teat is pulled away. Controlled portions matter. Overfeeding can cause fatal bloating in newborns. If a newborn's too weak to suckle, workers tube feed it directly, delivering life-saving colostrum stress-free. Once strong enough, kids move into group pens with deep, clean straw, free to explore, leap off raised ledges, and build social bonds. Those raised concrete steps are clever. They keep bedding dry underneath, stopping bacteria and hoof infections before they start. A white kid stretches up to pull alfalfa from a wall-mounted rack. Elevating the feed keeps it off the ground, cutting contamination and parasites. Automated drinkers supply unlimited fresh water. Good hydration now sets these goats up for strong milk production as adults. Next door, the adult herd waits. High above, an operator steers a suspended monorail crane through the rafters. Notice the layout. Bucks stay separate from the milking parlor. Cause in rut, they secretely compounds that can taint the milk. Fast-spinning auger blades inside an acrylic housing slice a dense straw bale into fine bedding in seconds. Gliding along ceiling rails, the spreader showers fresh straw across the barn, keeping hundreds of goats clean and comfortable without a single worker stepping onto the floor. Then an automated feed cart docks beneath overhead chutes. Corn, soy, and grain pellets pour into 6 compartments, calibrated for milk output. Traveling autonomously, this trolley delivers grain to every goat up to 8 times a day. Small, frequent meals prevent rumen acidosis, which kills milk yields. Look at these alpine does, udders heavy with milk. Here's a surprising fact. Goat milk fat globules are smaller than cow milk's, creating a natural emulsion that delays cream separation without homogenization. Clean, dry straw protects udder health before these goats ever reach the parlor. Outside, selected goats are being transported in a ventilated truck bound for the processing plant. To minimize stress before the line begins, they are handled calmly as they descend a steel ramp into the waiting corridor. Inside the processing hall, workers shackle each carcass and lift it onto the automated overhead conveyor. Suspended on the rail, each carcass moves toward the skinning station where technicians loosen the hide around the rear shanks. A precise first cut. Along the midline, butchers slice the belly hide over stainless floor basins that catch debris, keeping the line clean and inspection ready. Up on elevated platforms, mechanical pullers engage, stripping the full fleece hide downward in one smooth motion, exposing clean white fat beneath without transferring a single stray hair onto the meat surface below. In the offal processing room, workers load the severed hooves directly into a high-speed centrifugal dehairing drum. Inside, scalding hot water jets and rapid spinning work together to scrub every trace of coarse hair from the curved surface. When the cycle finishes, the hatch opens and clean white hooves tumble into stainless carts below, ready for byproduct sorting. In the chilling hall, workers hook severed heads on a secondary rail, keeping them alongside matching carcasses for full traceability. Technicians excise the organ sacs intact, sliding them into collection vats. High-value pluck, heart, liver, lungs, trachea hangs separately on its own line, still traceable to its carcass. Mounted on carousel frames, carcasses rotate through high-pressure spray cabinets, blasting away bone dust, blood, and debris before cold storage. Workers guide them along rails to the cold vault, using pusher poles to pack the rows tightly for airflow. The insulated doors seal shut, locking in sub-zero temperatures that set the meat texture and lock in freshness. At the loading dock, workers hook chilled carcass quarters onto ceiling monorails inside refrigerated trucks. Suspending the meat off the floor prevents bruising on the road. Stamped with official inspection seals, the loaded truck pulls out under night lights. Night delivery avoids daytime traffic, keeping the cold chain intact and the meat arriving at peak freshness. Inside the fabrication plant, butchers line twin conveyor belts. Worth knowing, premium goat meat, cabrito under 3 months, chivan at 5 to 9, is nothing like cheap cull meat from older does which needs hours of braising to tenderize. Bone-in primals travel to the saw, where a high-speed band saw divides bone and muscle in one clean pass, each chop uniform, clean-edged. Butchers slice rib racks into retail chops against guide fences, letting the fence do the measuring. The loin splits down the spinal column into symmetrical halves, revealing rich marbling. Inspectors check fat distribution before cuts enter the clean room. Butchers scrape the Frenched bone spotless. Every seal gets pressed and checked by hand. Barcodes print, labels go on, and cartons roll toward refrigerated dispatch. Now back to milk. On the dairy side, goat herds trot up ramps into the elevated milking parlor, a routine they follow multiple times a day. In the stanchions, technicians wipe each teat clean before attaching vacuum cups. Sanitizing first keeps the milk pure from the first second of extraction. Milk surges through clear hoses as vacuum pressure draws it out, while flow meters record exact volumes, data that feeds into herd health management. Raw milk flows through filter jars that strain out impurities. When flow drops, takeoff cords detach the cups automatically. No manual intervention needed. For larger operations, a 36-stall rotary carousel turns continuously, letting one operator milk dozens of goats at once while they feed on grain. Each goat stands in a headlock stanchion, eating while the milking claws work. After a full turn, the headlocks release and goats step off, walking down wide exit ramps back to their pens. No bottlenecking during peak hours. Outside, motorized bristle brushes spin automatically. Goats lean in, pressing against the rollers. It keeps coats clean, boosts circulation, and cuts the low-level stress that quietly suppresses milk output. Then bulk tanks fill insulated tanker trucks. Next stop, the cheese factory. The tanker arrives and the driver connects sanitary hoses to the outdoor stainless silos. Thousands of liters of raw goat milk are about to transform, and the chemistry ahead is nothing like a cow milk dairy. Tri-clamp fittings get locked tight. One loose coupling could contaminate an entire batch, so every connection is checked twice. Before transfer begins, the driver hands off sample vials for lab testing. No batch moves forward until results clear. In the control room, technicians watch SCADA software track live temperatures, volumes, and valve positions across all 5 silos. In the vats, cheesemakers add rennet, triggering coagulation. Here's the science. Goat milk has far less alphas-1 casein than cow milk, which is exactly why it forms a soft, gelatinous curd instead of a firm one. Cheesemakers pour the culture solution. Culture goes into the vats, and spinning wire harps slice through the coagulum, separating soft curd grains from the whey releasing beneath. Cutting has to be gentle, too aggressive, and the butterfat bleeds into the whey. For hard cheeses, curds are cut small and cooked at 38 to 40 degrees for 40 minutes. Harp arms swirl the curds through warm whey, firming them up as moisture releases. Cheesemakers scoop samples, checking how the curd holds together. Then the real test. Bare hands squeeze a handful of curd. The feel tells an experienced cheesemaker what no sensor can. Once the curd passes the hand test, warm curd and whey are pumped onto stainless drainage tables, where workers spread it evenly as the whey drains below. But this liquid isn't waste. Acid whey can have an extremely high biological oxygen demand, making responsible disposal a major environmental challenge. Cheesemakers pack the curd into perforated molds, pressing hard to expel whey and compact the wheels. 10 liters of milk makes just over a kilogram of fresh cheese. Most of it ends up as whey. Underneath the template, dozens of stark white wheels sit exposed. That whiteness is chemistry. Goats convert beta-carotene to vitamin A before it ever reaches the milk. Workers flip each wheel in its mold, letting whey drain evenly from both sides, then level the tops for a clean, symmetrical shape. The wheels move onto wooden shelf trolleys. A thermometer checks core temperature before the batch heads into warm incubation. Whey still dripping through the wood grain. Meanwhile, at the adjacent vats, cheesemakers pour real black truffle flakes into warm curd, one of the facility's most valuable batches. Wire harps blend the truffle through the curd, creating a striking black and white mix before it's pumped onto the drainage tables. Using flat plastic shovels, workers scrape and spread the speckled curd evenly across the drainage surface, packing every mold cavity tightly so no air pockets remain in the finished wheels. Excess curd is swept into the filled wells, and the metal template plate lifts free, revealing a full array of black and white truffle cheese rounds, each one immediately flipped inside its mold to lock in the cylindrical shape while the curd is still warm. The trolleys roll into the camera calda, the warm room thick with steam. Lactic acid bacteria go to work immediately, dropping the pH and starting the fermentation that shapes the cheese. After that, the wheels move into cool aging vaults on wooden shelves. The temperature drop is deliberate. slowing fermentation and shifting toward rind and flavor development. Cheesemakers work every shelf by hand, turning each wheel a full 180 degrees. Regular turning stops moisture from pooling and keeps the rind even on both sides. Look closely. The basket weave texture on top is imprinted straight from the mold sleeves, a signature of the handcrafted process. Below, the wooden boards quietly absorb excess moisture, supporting the rind as it forms. Then, cheesemakers coat each wheel completely with coarse sea salt, rubbing it across the top, bottom, and sides. The salt draws out moisture while helping form a natural protective rind. Premium goat cheese needs just 4 ingredients: goat milk, salt, starter cultures, and rennet. Each wheel is returned to wooden shelves, then placed in deep salt beds for even coverage. Over the following weeks, penicillium mold develops on the rind, not spoilage, but the source of the cheese's earthy flavor. After 60 days, lactose drops below 0.1%, making it effectively lactose-free. The wheels are then washed, leaving smooth light yellow rind speckled with pepper and dried before the final stage, European certification. At the certification station, artisans stamp each rind with the official Pecorino Toscano DOP mark. That blue ink is a legal guarantee. This cheese was made in a specific region of Italy, under centuries-old protected standards. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more farm-to-food videos.